participating with our mini icebreaker. Welcome back again for our first day of final term. I'm just clicking my screen for the full screen. All right. Okay, so our topic for today is consumer markets and consumer buying behavior. So, as discussed earlier with our icebreaker class, it has a connection how customers or how buyers chooses their preferences or their needs and wants on the products and services that they are availing in the market. So now, before we proceed, can you please read the learning objectives? Can you please read, Angel? Angel, do you hear me? Okay, how about, mahina siguro yung internet niya. Avi Marie,
Yes po, ma'am. Learning
can you please
objective.
read?
After the completion of the topic, students will be able to recognize the major types of buying decision, behavior, and the stages in the buyer decision process. Number 2, outline the major characteristics affecting consumer behavior. 3, explain the buyer decision process. And last, discuss need recognition, information search, evaluation of alternatives, the purchase decision, and the post-purchase behavior.
Okay, thank you very much, Avi. So class, these are the learning objectives that you should be able to acquire at the end of our discussion. So please make sure that you are taking down notes because later on I'll be asking you questions related to our discussions. Okay, first is what is consumer buying behavior. So when we say consumer buying behavior, it refers to the buying behavior of final consumer, individuals and households who buy goods and services for personal consumption. It is all these final consumers that make up the consumer market. So when we say consumer buying behavior class, as mentioned earlier, these are your preferences or these are your attitudes towards buying or availing products and services in the market or in a business. So we should need to understand or we should need to remember that consumer buying, why consumers make the purchases that they make. So what are their reasons or ano yung mga um, behaviors that they are trying to portray in order for them to purchase a certain products and services. Also, what factors influence consumer purchases? Bakit niya binibili yung mga ganong products and services? Are there someone pushing his or her behavior or meron ba siyang other people kung saan nakita niya yung products and services niya which she or he thinks na he or she needs to purchase that products and services. Another one is the changing factors in our society. So class, our society have a very huge impact in terms of our preferences and behavior, especially the social media platform. From our day-to-day lives, for example, you during your browsing or during your Facebook or having your Facebook, may nakikita kayo mga sponsored ads or mga videos related to products and services. So somehow it will catch your attention and once it catch your attention, you will see reviews or of the products and services and mapupush ka to purchase or to buy that products and services. So society have a very big impact kung ano yung trending or kung ano yung patok nowadays, gusto natin meron din tayo nun or gusto natin makakapag-avail din tayo ng ganong products and services. Now, we have different stages of the consumer buying process. First is the problem recognition or awareness of need. Difference between the desired state and the actual condition. But when we say problem recognition class, inaalam ba natin ano ba yung mga products and services na kailangan natin? Halimbawa sa household or sa bahay, yung mga condiments natin or yung mga gamit natin sa bahay, panluto, or mga ginagamit natin to prepare something for our table. So we are aware or na lalaman natin ay wala na pala tayo ng ganitong condiments or wala na pala tayo nitong ganitong bagay that we need to purchase by assisting or by analyzing the condition. So when we say problem recognition and awareness of needs, you are assessing the actual condition, and then you will know or you will think of your desires of purchasing a products and services if you think that those products and services are badly needed for yourself or for your environment. So next is information search. When we say information search class, meron tayong dalawang type. First is the internal search. You will use your memory when you are purchasing or when you are buying products and services. For example, ng internal search class, yung stock knowledge mo. For example, ikaw lagi yung nagpe-purchase ng mga groceries sa bahay mo. So dapat sa isip mo, bilang mo or meron kang counting ng mga groceries na meron ka pa at wala ka na. So, for example, ang grocery schedule mo is for next week. So, ikaw, maglilista ka or mag-iisip ka, ano na ba yung mga meron pa kami or ano ba yung mga bagay na wala na kami. So, yun yung ililista mo doon sa mga bibilihin mo for next week. That's what you call internal search. You will be using your memory when you are purchasing a certain products or services. Next is external search. When we say external search, if you need more information, you will use other search engines. For example, you are a traveler and then meron kang existing gadget ay iPhone 13, for example, but you want to have a good photos or a good shot of your photos when you travel to Siargao. Now, sabi mo, ay sige, bibili ako ng GoPro. However, wala kang enough informations about the specifications of the GoPro. Hindi mo alam paano siya gagamitin or paano siya i-execute. Now, in order for you to know more about information about those kinds of gadgets or that kinds of gadget, you will use other search engines. For example, pupunta ka sa YouTube to check paano ba, how to use GoPro, what are the specification of GoPro. So you will be using different search engines. When we say search engines, tulad ng different websites or ng Google, social media platforms. So always remember, class, the difference between internal and external search. So again, internal search class, you will use your own memory or your own stock knowledge. And for external search, you will use or you will search more informations using search engines or other platforms in order for you to get more informations for that products and services. Next is evaluation of alternatives. When we say evaluation of alternatives, need to establish criteria for evaluations, features the buyers wants or does not want, rank, weight alternatives, or resume research. When we say evaluation of alternatives class, meron ka dapat choices or pagpipilian. For example, you want to travel, you are thinking to travel from Boracay and Palawan. So now, hindi mo alam kung saan ka magbubuk kasi parehas mo siyang gusto. However, kailangan mo lang mamili ng isang destination kung saan mo for example. Now, you have to evaluate alternatives. So, ililista mo muna Boracay versus Palawan. Now, ililista mo how much is the ticket fare ng Boracay versus Palawan. How much yung accommodation na makikita mo sa Boracay versus Palawan. Ililist down mo all the things that you need during your travel sa Boracay and Palawan. Now, once you already listed all the things that you should consider before you travel or before you choose your destination, makikita mo doon or mawiwiin mo, ay pag nag-Boracay tayo, ito yung total amount or expenses na magagastos natin versus pag nagpalawan tayo, ito. Now, ano yung mga activities na magagawa mo sa Boracay na meron din sa Palawan? So, kailangan may deviation ka. Maghahanap ka ng other things na may mag-stand out in order for you to choose between those two options. So, that's what we call evaluations of alternatives. Next continuation class is purchase decision. When we say purchase decision, choose buying alternative includes product, package, store, method of purchase. So pag purchase decision class, dito ka na magde-decide. So halimbawa nakalista ka na Boracay and Palawan. Nakita mo doon na yung Boracay mas mura yung accommodation niya compare sa Palawan. However, mas mura naman yung plane ticket ng Palawan versus sa Boracay. Now, ang make or break ng decision mo or para makapag-come up ka sa purchase decision mo, hahanap ka ng isang bagay na mag-stand out between the two options. So for example, nag-stand out ang Boracay kasi sa Boracay, hindi kailangan ng S-Pass or ng authorization tourist pass as well as ng confirm booking from the hotel. Unlike sa Palawan na in order for you to get there, kailangan mo muna ng travel authorization, ng vaccination card, ng RT-PCR and everything. So you need a lot of documentation pag pupunta ka sa Palawan compare sa Boracay. So that's what we call purchase decision class. Ina-assess mo yung mga things considering for your purchase. So you itemize everything para makapag-come up ka sa purchase decision. Next is purchase. So dito na-identify mo na yung differences ng products na bibilhin mo. Nakita mo na kung ano yung nag-stand out or sino yung nag-stand out sa kanila na mas magkakaroon ka ng convenience and mas madali mo siyang mapaprocess. So nakita mo si Boracay yung mas madaling puntahan compared to Palawan. So you will purchase Boracay or you will choose Boracay package. That's what we call purchase class. Bibilin mo na yung products or yung services. Next is post-purchase. When we say post-purchase, once you experience or once you use the products and services, i-evaluate mo na or magbibigay ka na ng outcome or magbibigay ka na ng feedback. So for example, nakapag-stay na kayo ng family mo sa Boracay for 5 days. Ngayon, i-assess mo yung sarili mo at saka yung family members mo. Sasabihin mo, Mom or Dad, did you enjoy our stay in Boracay? So are you satisfied or are you dissatisfied? So doon papasok yung post-purchase class, yung feedback or yung outcome nung experience mo when you purchase a certain products or a certain services. So that's the stages of consumer buying process class. Just to recap, una, problem recognition. Aalamin mo muna ano ba yung challenges mo na na-encounter mo. You need to be aware of your needs or your wants. Next is mag-i-information research ka muna. Gagawa ka muna ng research or ng study. You will use internal or external search. It's up to you based on your needs and wants. After that, nakapag-research ka na, mag-e-evaluate ka na ng alternatives or mag-e-evaluate ka na ng options. Irarank mo na sila or pagko-compare rin mo na sila. Once you compare them, purchase decision. I-identify mo na ano yung mga bagay na nag-stand out versus sa isang bagay. So, ko-compare mo sila. Once you compare everything, nakita mo may nag-stand out, bibilhin mo na yung bagay or yung services that you think is nanalo doon sa purchasing decision mo or doon sa weighing decision mo. After that, may post-purchase ka after you experience the products and services. Dapat meron kang evaluations or feedback in order for you to know if you are satisfied or dissatisfied with the products and services that you avail. So these are the stages of consumer buying process. Next, we have different types of consumer buying risk. Ano ba yung mga risk or ano ba yung mga kailangan nating isaalang-alang when we are going to purchase a certain products and services. First class is personal risk. When we say personal risk, directly affect an individual and may involve the loss of earnings and assets or an increase in an expenses For example, unemployment create financial burdens from the loss of income and employment benefits. Yun yung tinatawag nating personal risk. Kapag meron siyang direct impact sa sarili mo. For example, magta-travel ka, pero wala ka namang trabaho, or nawalan ka ng trabaho. So what will be the outcome of your action? So mawawalan ka ng money, or mababawasan yung tataas yung expenses mo kasi, for example, gagamitin mo lang yung credit card mo in order for you to travel. Wala ka talagang savings for your travel. So personal risk siya, class, kasi it can directly affect yourself. So next, social risk. When we say social risk, class, concern or uncertainty in the buyer's mind that the purchase of the product under consideration will not be approved by others. For example, di ba pag may lumalabas na iPhone 13 or tumataas yung number ng iPhone, or may bagong lumalabas na model, maraming ibang tao or merong ibang buyer na nagpo-post sila sa Facebook, ay, di ko naman kailangang bilhin yung iPhone, okay na ako sa Samsung kasi mahal yung iPhone eh. Or hindi tanggap ng society yung mga products and services na ina-avail natin. So, that's what we call social risk. Not all people will like your buying preferences or your buying options. That's what we call social risk. Next is economic risk. When we say economic risk, class, is the risk involved in investigating or purchasing in a business opportunity in an international market that arises from changes in sovereign policies, market fluctuations, and counterparty credit risk. Pag sinabing economic risk, for example, class, are you familiar dun sa nagkaroon ng Hong Kong, sa Hong Kong ng rally? So, nagrarally yung mga citizens of Hong Kong kasi ayaw nilang magkaroon, or ayaw nilang masakop sila ng sovereignty ng other government. That's why they are having their rally. So that was December 2019 to February 2020. During those time, class, nagkaroon sila ng problem in terms of traveling. So there are a lot of tourists na nag-purchase na ng kanilang travel packages or ng tour packages going to Hong Kong. However, nagkaroon ng problem kasi nagkaroon ng temporary closure ang Hong Kong for their tourists because of safety and security. So, yun yung tinatawag nating economic risk. Kapag merong problems arising inside the government or a country, their economic growth or development are affected or is affected. So, that's what we call economic risk. Next is the fourth type of consumer buying behavior. First is routine response or program behavior. When we say routine response or program behavior, buying low involvement, frequently purchase low cost items, need very little research or decision effort, purchase almost automatically. When we say routine response or program behavior, class, hindi mo na kailangang mag-research ng sobrang daming research para lang bilhin mo yung mga ganong products. Kasi either kailangan mo siya from your day-to-day lives, or part na talaga siya ng daily living mo or daily lifestyle mo. Can anyone give me an example of routine response or program behavior, class? Anyone? You may raise your hand. Yes, Rain.
Pagbili po ng mga groceries po.
Okay, so very good. Buying groceries are part of routine response and program behavior. So, since part siya ng daily living natin or ng daily lives natin, so hindi mo naman kailangan ng mag-research ka pa, ano bang content ng tomato sauce or ng vinegar. So hindi mo na siya kailangang i-research because that's part of your daily groceries or daily action. So that's what we call routine and program behavior. Nakaprogram na siya sa isip mo na every month bibilihin mo tong mga products na to. Next, so yun, katulad ng sinabi ni Rain, examples include soft drinks, snack foods, milk, etc. So all the things that we need for survival. Next, limited decision making. When we say limited decision making, buying product occasionally when you need to obtain information about unfamiliar brand in a familiar product category perhaps requires a moderate amount of time for information gathering. For anyone, pag sinabi nating limited decision making class, alam mo na yung products, alam mo na yung mga halimbawa soft drinks, pero lagi mong binibiling soft drinks is Coca-Cola lang. However, gusto mo mag-try ng panibagong brand. Kaso lang, hindi mo alam kung ano ba yung reviews dun sa products and services na yun. So, kailangan mo pa siyang mag-research. Same as traveling class when you are traveling. As a tourist, for example, you are aware that Palawan is one of the most visited destinations in our country, especially during travel. So, alam mo yung Palawan. However, hindi ka pa nakakapunta sa Palawan. That's why, before you travel, kailangan mo munang mag-research or kailangan mo munang kumuha ng different informations about the destinations. Saan ba nakakakuha ng murang plane tickets? Saan ba yung magandang place sa Palawan na may magandang tourist attractions or na mga accommodations? Paano ba yung mode of transportation doon pag pumunta ka? So that's what we call limited decision making. You know the products and the services. However, kailangan mo pa rin mag-gather ng enough information because you haven't experienced it or you haven't tried those kinds of products and services. Examples, clothes. Know mo yung products or know mo yung class but not the brand. Halimbawa, gusto mo ng crop top pero may nakita kang crop top, binebenta, ang brand niya ay Zara. However, hindi ka masyadong familiar sa Zara. So you need to research first or you need to gather information first. Next, extensive decision making. When we say extensive decision making, complex, high involvement, unfamiliar, expensive, or infrequently bought products, high degree of economic, performance, psychological risk, spend a lot of time seeking information and deciding. One of the example of this is, for example, ikaw ay adventurous. Gusto mo ng mga high adrenaline rush of activities or experience. For example, si Edward, naisip niyo, parang gusto kong skydiving sa Dubai. So gusto kong pumunta ng Dubai, gusto kong mag-skydiving. However, walang knowledge si Edward about skydiving. Gusto niya lang matry in once in his life. Now, kailangan magkaroon ng extensive decision-making process ni Edward. Kasi, una, unfamiliar siya sa skydiving, pero gusto niya. Pangalawa, mahal ang skydiving. You need to spend a lot of money from your tickets, accommodation, airline accommodation, yung mga pocket money mo, yung pambayad mo sa trainer mo, sa place kung saan ka mag-skydiving. So you will spend a lot of money. That's why hindi pwedeng pabigla-bigla or pabugso-bugso yung decision mo. Kailangan mo munang pag-aralan. Next is infrequently bought products. Hindi siya masyadong ina-avail ng maraming tao kasi nga mahal siya. And next is meron siyang psychological risk. Halimbawa, gusto lang ni Edward na mag-skydiving. However, hindi niya pala alam na meron pala siyang problem sa heart na masama na mabibigla siya or masyadong magiging masaya. So, kailangan mag-spend pa siya ng money na magpa-medical kung fit talaga siya to try those kinds of activity. So, you need a lot of time seeking information and deciding before you purchase these kinds or those kinds of products and services. That's what we call extensive decision making. So example din, class, kung related naman sa home and lifestyle, yung cars, yung bahay, computers, and education, so dapat pinag-iisipan mo muna yung mga ganyang bagay before you purchase or before you buy. Next is impulse buying. Very simple. When we say impulse buying, no conscious planning. Naisipan mo lang bumili, katulad ngayon, 11/11 class. So I believe some of you purchase a product sa Shopee or sa Lazada noong 11/11. So that's what we call impulse buying. Even if hindi mo naman alam kung saan mo siya gagamitin or walang so much time na pinag-aralan mo kung bakit mo siya bibilhin, nakita mo lang kasi yung crop top 2 pesos lang sa 11/11. Bigla mo na lang in-add to cart kahit di mo nakita yung sizes or di mo nakita mapangit pala yung tela pero binili mo na siya. That's what we call impulse buying. Ganon din sa traveling class, for example. Hotel, you want to have your staycation or you want to have your um, leisure time sa hotel or sa accommodation. Nakita mo yung isang hotel sa Agoda, nagbebenta siya ng promo niya, ng hotel niya worth 599. So binili mo siya without checking the the amenities or the qualification in order for you to avail the accommodation of that hotel. Pagpunta mo sa hotel, binakita mo yung voucher. Kailangan pala vaccinated ka. Kailangan pala may travel pass ka. Kailangan pala may RT-PCR test ka na negative. Eh, hindi ka vaccinated, wala kang S-pass, pumunta ka lang dun sa hotel kasi nabigla ka or nagulat ka, binili mo kasi mura. So that's what we call impulse buying class, no conscious planning. Nagulat ka lang or nabigla ka lang kasi nakita mo mura yung presyo or biglang nag-pop up sa screen mo na 599 lang or buy one take one. That's why you purchase it without planning. So that's what we call impulse buying. Next, categories that affect the consumer decision process. So ano ba yung mga bagay or ano ba yung mga factors that affecting people on their buying process? So first is personal. When we say personal class, yung sarili lang natin. Bakit ba natin binibili yung mga products and services na to or bakit natin siya pinipurchase? Meron tayong sarili nating checklist or meron tayong sarili nating decision bakit natin siya binibili. For example, you want to book a massage package sa isang massage spa. Personal choice mo yun because you want to unwind or you want to relax from your day-to-day jobs or from your day-to-day lives. So, personal decision. Next, social or social impact. So, merong effect or merong impact yung decision ng society or ng mga taong nasa paligid mo sa pagbili mo ng products and services. So, for example, si Patricia, magkaibigan sila ni Maribeth. Na nakita ni Patricia si Maribeth nagpunta ng Singapore sa Universal Studio. Now, si Maribeth, si Patricia, she will ask Maribeth, how's your travel sa Universal Studio, is that worth it? So, okay ba siya? Masaya ba siya? So, hinihingi niya yung opinion or hinihingi niya yung suggestion ni Maribeth. Kasi si Maribeth, yung may first-hand experience doon sa Universal Studio, which is gusto ring pumunta ni Patricia. However, wala siyang enough knowledge kung ano ba yung magiging experience niya doon. So, once si Maribeth, kapag positive yung feedback niya, so, yung decision-making ni Patricia is pwedeng maging positive. Kung negative ang decision ni Maribeth, yung feedback ni Maribeth, for example, sinabi ni Maribeth, nako Patricia, yes, pumunta kami doon. However, hindi gumagana yung aquarium nila or yung amusement park nila. Lugi yung binayad naming ticket. So, not worth it as of these days kasi very limited lang yung pinapapasok nila. And ang dami palang requirements. So, si Patricia, gagawin niya yung factors to her decision kung tutuloy ba siya or hindi. Lastly is psychological. When we say psychological, because it's about your mind or it's about your mental capacity. So are you in good condition to think or are you not in good condition to think of an alternative or a decision that you will buy a certain products and services. So these are the three categories of the consumer buying decision process. Please remember when we say personal, about yourself or decision about yourself, meron kang checklist ng mga dapat mong sundin based on your preferences or needs and wants. Next is social class. When we say social, these are the things or the factors affecting outside your environment, the people around you. So meron silang effect or nakaka-apekto sila sa buying decision process mo. And psychological is within your mental capacity, your capacity to think positively, or your capacity to think correctly based on your options or alternatives. So these are the three categories, class. Please remember. Next, yun, inisa-isa ko na pala, class. So personal factors unique to a particular person, demographic factors based on your gender, your age. So kung millennials ka, ano ba yung lagi nyong binibili or lagi nating binibili? Kung female and male ka, syempre it depends on your preferences. So sa personal factors, class, responsible din dito yung sino sa pamilya yung nagde-decide. Is it the father? Is it the mother? Or kung sino yung provider ng family? Young people purchase things for different reasons than older people. So yung mga millennials or yung mga adult, iba yung preferences nila or yung needs and wants nila to older people. So iba na kasi yung mga preferences natin habang nagkaka-age tayo. Next, psychological factors, class, as mentioned, motives. When we say motives, class, bakit mo ba gustong bilhin yung products and services na yon? Ano ba yung reason mo bakit mo siya gustong i-avail or i-experience? Perception. When we say perception, pag binili mo ba tong product na to katulad ng iPhone, class, mostly kapag meron ka kasing iPhone, class, marami kang pambili or nasa high class ka of the society. Based on the statistic na kapag iPhone or Apple yung gamit mo. So ano ba yung perception mo when you buy those kinds of things? Ability and knowledge. When we say ability and knowledge, do you have enough informations about that products and services? So do you have your previous research or memory na factors before buying those kinds of products? Attitude, meaning your self personality or self characteristics when you are buying a products and services. Personality, so it will fall under attitude, personality, and lifestyle. So kung lifestyle mo, mahilig ka sa gadgets or mahilig ka mag-travel, mahilig ka sa food or sa mga adventure activities, so it's up to you on how are you going to purchase products and services which will fall under psychological factors. So yun, inisa-isa ko lang siya, class. So, unahin natin yung motives. So, when we say motives, class, so magpo-fall siya sa under Maslow hierarchy of needs na are your motives physiological or physical, kaya mo siya binibili, or bibilihin mo yung products na yun because of your safety and security, kaya ka bibili ng lock sa inyong sa door or sa bahay or CCTV cameras. Love and belongingness, to give a gift for your friends because there are celebrations or there are gatherings. Esteem. When we say esteem, yung confidence mo sa sarili mo. Kasi iniisip mo, when you avail those kinds of products, confident ka or magkakaroon ka ng self-esteem or magkakaroon ka ng confidence, ay, yung other classmates ko merong ganito. That's why pag nagkaroon din ako, magiging belong ako sa kanila or magiging level ako with them. And self-actualization, gusto mo lang ma-fulfill yung needs and wants mo. That's why you purchase that product. That's what we call motives. Next, perception. Meron tayong perception is the process of selecting, organizing, and interpreting informations, inputs to produce meaning. So ano yung iniisip mo towards that products and services? So meron tayong three. First is selective exposure. When we say selective exposure, class, it selects input to be exposed to our awareness. More likely if it's linked to an event, satisfy current needs, intensity of input changes. When we say selective exposure, class, pag nakikita kayo dun sa mga social media pages nyo or social media accounts nyo, may lumalabas na mga advertisements about makeups, about traveling, about K-pop, or about a gadget. So, pag nakita nyo siya, class, tapos na-catch niya yung attention nyo, so, magkiklik na kayo doon, tapos magkakaroon na kayo ng research or magkakaroon na kayo ng study. Aalamin nyo na yung information kasi na-catch niya yung attention nyo. Yun yung tinatawag nating selective exposure. Binibigyan tayo ng awareness ng mga brands or ng mga businesses para ipakita sa atin yung mga products and services nila para i-purchase natin or bilhin natin. Next is selective distortion. Changing, twisting current received information inconsistent with beliefs. When we say selective distortion, class, dinadivert nga yung attention natin dun sa alam natin, dinadivert niya yung attention natin or yung informations based sa facts na hindi lang dun sa recent information na alam natin. So for example, you purchase, yung information na na-purchase mo, pag bumili ka ng iPhone or ng iPhone, high level of iPhone is maganda yung cameras niya. Yun lang yung lagi nilang pinapakita. However, dun sa selective distortion class, pag nag-research ka, nakikita mo dun, ay yung battery pala niya or yung charging niya pala, mabilis pala siya malobat or mabilis pala siya kailangang i-charge. Kala ko camera, okay na dun sa camera, maganda lang. Meron palang other factors na kailangan kong isaalang-alang or kailangan kong i-take in consideration. So that's what we call selective distortion. And lastly, selective retention. Remember inputs that support beliefs, forget those that don't. Selective retention, ibig sabihin, yung mga facts or mga information facts na nakalagay dun sa mga products and services na naa-avail natin. Pag paulit-ulit natin siyang binibili, class, and paulit-ulit nating nababasa yung mga reviews and information towards that products, class, nare-retain siya sa isip natin or nare-retain siya sa mind natin na ito yung mga benefits na nabibigay niya sa akin, ito yung mga advantage na nabibigay niya sa akin. That's why this products and services, I will purchase this ng paulit-ulit. So these are the three perception: exposure, distortion, and retention. Next, ability and knowledge. So you need to understand or you have to be familiar with the products and services. Meron ka dapat ideas, ano ba yung mga products and services na yon. Next is kung wala ka namang knowledge, kailangan magkakaroon ka or mag-undergo ka ng learning or magpag-aaralan mo yung mga products and services na ipe-purchase mo. So attitudes, class, it is the positive and negative feelings about an object. Diba merong mga bagay or merong mga products na kung sa tingin mo or sa pakiramdam mo is, ay, wag ko na siyang bilhin, hindi ko naman talaga siya kailangan, mukhang nadideceive lang ako, hindi ko na siya bibilhin or hindi ko na siya i-purchase. Ay, next year na ako magta-travel, hindi pa pala enough yung ipon ko. So, ina-assess mo yung sarili mo. Ina-assess mo yung capacities mo. So, personality naman, depende sa lifestyle mo. Yung lifestyle mo ba, introvert ka ba, adventurous ka ba, gusto mo ba mag-travel? Gusto mo ng foods or gusto mo ng gadgets? It's up to you. So, bibilihin mo yung mga products and services na gusto mo that will fit to your personality or to your characteristics. Lifestyle. So, lifestyle mo, ibig sabihin is you have so much money ba to purchase a products and services or meron ka lang enough savings na kailangan mo mag-spend ng 6 months in order for you to travel. So, that's what we call lifestyle. Ano yung nakasanayan mo? Social factors, class, opinion leaders, role and family influences. Sorry, class, I am asking another 15 minutes of your time just to finish our chapter. This chapter, medyo mahaba lang siya. Okay, so social factors, opinion leaders, role and family influences, reference groups, social class, and culture. So these are the factors na sinasaalang-alang natin for social factors when we are having our buying decision. So una, opinion leaders. When we say opinion leaders, class, ito yung mga taong sinusundan natin or kapag nagsalita tong mga tao na to, halimbawa, ito yung bilhin nyo kasi maganda to, na-experience ko na to, sinusunod natin siya. Or fina-follow natin yung mga suggestions and feedbacks nila. So meron leader, di ba? As a leader, you are the one giving instructions or giving tasks to your members. Ganon din sa buying decision under social factors na opinion leaders. Next is role and family influences. When we say role and family influences, sino ba yung nasusunod sa buying decision? Yung mother ba? Yung father ba? Yung grandmother or yung grandfather? So it depends kung sino yung may pinakamalaking say sa family or pinakamalaking influences sa pamilya. Next, references groups. When we say references groups, class, very simple. Ito yung mga grupo kung saan ka belong or kung saan ka at home. Halimbawa, yung mga kaibigan mo or yung mga set of friends mo or yung mga circle of friends mo. Sabi kasi nila, tell me who your friends are and I tell you who you are. So, ganun siya. Kung ano yung gusto ng mga friends mo, yun din yung nagiging hobby mo or yung nagiging needs and wants mo. Same sa buying preferences mo. Siyempre, mabibigyan ka kasi nila ng suggestions nila or ng feedbacks nila. Social classes, when we say social classes, ibig sabihin, syempre, kung sino yung may mas maraming money or enough finances, sila yung mas nakakabili ng mga products and services. It depends to quality and quantity. So, kung meron ka lang enough money, syempre, limited lang din yung mapipurchase mo or limited lang din yung mabibili mo. So, depende sa dami ng amount or sa social classes mo kung nandun ka sa mayaman, sa middle class, or nandun sa lower class. So, it depends. Next is culture. When we say culture, refers to the set of values, ideas, and attitudes that are accepted by a homogeneous group of people and transmitted to the next generation. When we say homogeneous, class, isa lang or pare-parehas kayo ng preferences because of your culture, yung nakasanayan nyo. Or yung nakikita nyo doon sa grupo kung saan kayo belong. So culture also determines what is acceptable with product advertising. Culture determines what people wear, eat, reside, and travel. So for example, yung culture mo sa family mo, ang nakasanayan mo is you are traveling during summer with your family. So it influences your buying decision kapag nagkaroon ka na ng sariling family mo. Or groceries, for example, nakikita mo sa parents mo, yung groceries mo, meron lang kayong inaalat na budget per month. So pag nagkaroon ka ng sarili mong family, susunod mo siya or magagaya mo siya kasi nagkaroon na ng pattern because of your culture. So that's the end of our discussion, class. Thank you very much for listening. Hold on. Any questions? Clarification? Can you please turn on your cameras?